we continue with our class, Others People Money. And this session and all of them should be dedicated to Rifah Shlema, our dear Rabbi Yaron Ruven Shlita. His name is Yaron Ben Doris. Also Yehudis Bas Noach, Ariela Ora Bas Anna, and Imim Rasirachel Bas Brandel, David Shlomo Ben Sandra. Also quick release of dear friend Moshe Shmuel Ben Pnina, Bezras Hashem. Alright, so today we continue with our class Halachos of Others People Money. Right, and our next topic. So actually, let me go back a little. So we're on a section B, and our topic is stealing by refusing to pay. Right, and we're going through all of the different categories. So let me just go through quickly. Refusing to pay loan, we discussed I think last time. Refusing to pay for merchandise, right? Refusing to pay wages, refusing to pay rent, and refusing to return a deposit. So now we're actually on the last one, refusing to return a deposit. So, and it's actually widely discussed in the Talmud. So today, I mean, today's life is much more simpler. Let's put it this way. Today we have banks. Many people don't even have any amount of cash, right? I mean, like a small amount of cash because most of the money are in a bank. But in olden times, until I don't know how many years ago, not too long ago, I think, right? All of the money were in cash. So and you need to go somewhere, and you have to store it somewhere. So you can, I mean, there were houses were not as strong as today, and the doors, stuff like that, like locks. But everything was very primitive. So the safest way it was to deposit things with somebody else, right? Jewelry, right? Which is problematic once a person had in his or her possession some things, let's say his possession, and then they have to give back. So it's not so simple as we understand, right? They got used to it. And they would say, you never gave me anything. So what? Right? Maybe you mistaken me with somebody, I don't know. Yeah, but we were neighbors for 20 years. Yeah, I know you're my neighbor. But you gave me something on deposit when you left? I don't know, don't remember. So that's how people act. Okay, so let's see from the beginning. Refuses to return deposit. If one refuses to return money or valuables which were deposited with him for safekeeping or which he was holding in escrow, he is guilty of oshek. Similarly, if one received deposit or down payment with understanding that it will be refunded should the buyer change his mind, then then refuses to refund the deposit, he is guilty of oshek. So let's do it till the end. For example, a burdensome customer took a lot of sales, a lot of the sales clerk's time before finally placing his order with a small deposit. Shortly thereafter, he cancelled his order and asked for his deposit back. The merchant was reluctant to refund the deposit. He gave the customer a runaround, causing him to abandon the deposit. The merchant was guilty of oshek. Note, there is a certain differences concerning the prohibition of oshek with regard to Akum. This is discussed great in details below. Hebrew not below. Okay, so let's try to understand the main part. Okay, so again, refuse to return deposit. If one refuses to return money or valuables which were deposited for safekeeping. So for safekeeping, as we said, somebody's going to vacation, somebody goes on a business trip, and he leaves some things with somebody else. Cash, for example, right? Long time ago, I think I said this story. I have this old lady, unfortunately, she passed away. Let it be in her memory. Right, so she had an extended family, and she had the cash. Not a lot, but for her, it's. I mean, for us, it's also we're not rich people, but right. But she did not want to entrust anybody from her family. So she called my wife. I said, I want to give you for safekeeping this amount of money, and she gives in cash. And my wife said, that's now how it works. I have to give you a paper, right? Like a signed note, I'm going to count money. She said, no, please, I don't believe. No, we said, no, that's not how the things are done. She was Jewish, right? So we have to write down the note that in two copies, two copies, one for her and one for us. We said, if you're going to lose it, we're not going to give money back. Of course, I mean, just to scare her a little, to make her responsible, not to lose a note, and she was shocked. Because she trusted us so much that unfortunately, not somebody from her own family, elderly lady, right? She had a brother, maybe a sister, I don't know, like a nephews, nieces, like all of these other relatives. Right, so and she was very amazed when we wrote a depository note with a sign, this and that. Like, she was very surprised. All right, that's how we do. So but people sometimes say, no, look, you're my neighbor. You my what is it? You're my second cousin. You're my cousin. You're my uncle. You're my nephew. What? If I don't trust my nephew, if I don't trust my uncle, who can I trust in this world? All these people. Right, and guess what? Our sages say that, and I had a clip about it. Right, so if you give somebody money without any signed document, without witnesses, you're Rasha. So and Talmud said for me, I'm Rasha, that I trust this person. Yes, you're Rasha 100%. Why? Because you put a stumbling block in front of the blind. You understand? So a person after some times, he took your money, he took your deposit, and then he has to return. And you think, look, this guy, maybe he does not need it. And how can he prove in the court? How? Does he have witnesses? No. Right? Yeah, maybe he told his wife, but it's not a witness. Right? Does he has any paper? No. He has nothing. And that's why Talmud says, and halacha is, you must do, if possible, do both. Do witnesses and shtar, and like a promissory note, or at least some promissory note, but without anything, like that's not how things are done, right? So meaning, right, or he, right. So again, if one refuses to return money or valuables. Right, so the guy gave him some jewelry from his grandmother, or right, for a safekeeping, and now the person changed his mind, right? So right, or which he was holding as in escrow, right? He's guilty in oshek. So in escrow meaning it's his money, but I'm not sure what was the difference between escrow and deposit. I'm not sure. I mean, I think in my mind it's almost the same, right? Meaning it's your money and it's going to be used for specific purposes. Okay. So and next example, I think it's a very good example. So similarly, one receive a deposit or a down payment with the understanding that it will be refunded should the buyer change his mind. So of course it have to be agreed before that, or it is a business practice. For example, everybody in this region, right? That's how they do, right? So you leave deposit, and if you change your mind, for example, in 2 or 3 days, so you can get your money back. Of course, this person did not order anything. For example, I'm just giving an example, right? If it's normal business practice, why should I think otherwise? Why should I think that the person would understand otherwise? Okay. But it was, if it was not no such understanding. For example, person hire a general contractor or some contractor, and this guy, right? They say I'm going to install tiles for you, right, on the porch. And the guy brought cement, and he bought all of the like what is it, sand, right? And he brought this, and this guy said, you know what, I apologize, Mr. Contractor, I will change our mind. Can you take this cement back? Can you take all this back? Of course, the guy can take it back, but look, he hired a few people who help him to load the truck, unload, and the gas, and this and that. The whole day he spent. Yeah, you have to pay him. So he, in this case, he's in right. He's in right to get some deposit, right? Because he invested. It's not like he did not do anything, right? He did some work, preparatory work, still work. Okay. But if it was, if it's proper, like if it's normal to return deposit, so there's no problem. And today, I'm not sure today. In olden days, if I remember, it was like this the option layaway, right? So you go to the store, you like some whatever jacket, and you don't have money, so you pay them like 20%. I mean that's what how people live in olden days. And then every time, so it's like on a special separate hanger with your name on it, and every time you come and you give a little more deposit, and they check like fix the price. So before you own $60, now you own $53 or something. All these things, but right. So, but so in this case, if a person wants to cancel, yes, I mean they're going to resell the merchandise. It was never used. It was never used. It like it was like paper, like a tag or something on it. So there is no problem. They have a lot of these codes. They just take from this hanger and put it back. Unless there is special like store policy, right? Then they can keep deposit. Usually not in this case. Okay, so whoever does not return deposit is guilty of oshek. An example that he give, this burdensome customer took a lot of sales clerk's time and finally placing order with a small deposit. So meaning that usually, so I used to work in the office, so I heard what salespeople, how they talk, and I mean between themselves, it was interesting. So usually like how he said it, it's 80-20. So 80-20 ratio is what like 20% of the customers brings 20%, 80% of the business, and 80% of the customer brings only 20%, right? So meaning but you have to spend a lot of time on this 80%, and they very annoying, and they usually like a small shops, and they want to squeeze everything from you, right? And 80%, like the big ones, like right, like the bigger customer, they don't give you such a hard time and give you more money, right? So and many times I remember my customer support, they were not sitting in a cubicle open. Sometimes they get agitated and frustrated very loud on a cell phone, not on a cell phone, on a telephone, and usually with these small customers, right? Because they try to squeeze them, but just because they try to squeeze them. So if you don't want to do business with them, you say, I'm sorry, you know what? I told you that the price was 45, and you tried to for 37. Actually, I apologize. My manager told me that with such a small order like yours, it's going to be 57. So after they just had to get rid of him. That's it. And then they're going to say, I'm not interested. And that's it. You don't like. Why would you need to waste your time? Understand? How can you say 57 if it's not true? Simple, because asking price is always 57. Like when they do asking price, right? I heard how accounting teaching the salespeople also. You're doing this, and then you give this discount, that discount, that discount, and it's going to be a different price. Okay, so meaning it's not lie. When they say 57, it's not lie. It's a full price. Okay, so meaning, but even if they drive you crazy, and they like spend a lot of waste of a lot of your time, you have to return their money. What if it's agreement like that, is understanding like that? So, but person here, all right. So this what is it? Customer left us a small deposit. Shortly that after he asked for his money back, right? The merchant was reluctant to refund the deposit. Why? Because he spent all of this time, at least some kind of compensation. So he gave customer runaround, right? So, oh no, manager is not here. Call on Wednesday. Call next week. He's actually right in vacation. He came from vacation. He left to a business trip. All of these things. Yeah, you understand? So, and customers sometimes just let it go. There are so many things that I have to do. So that's for sure is guilty of oshek. Right. No problem. So that's what it is. And we're going to the next section, which is section C. Now topics are going to be stealing with the capital by capitalizing on a victim's mistake. So in topics that we're going to cover, Bezos Hashem, using deception to steal. Using deception to steal from Akum. Keeping the money or merchandise sent in error. Okay. So let's start from the beginning. Using deception to steal. Acquiring money, merchandise, or services by deceiving or tricking the victim is violation Torah prohibition of stealing. I mean, it's very obvious, but let's try to understand. Acquiring money or merchandise or services by deceiving or tricking the victim is violation of Torah prohibition. Meaning, whatever for example, the person said, "Look, I'm ready to place a big order for $50,000." So, but how about this thing, like whatever that costs 500? So the salesperson, yeah, you know what, Mister, this and that, just it's on us. It's on company. Anyway, so and when are you going to be ready with this order, big order? Next week? Okay, no problem. So look, enjoy. It's on company. So meaning he deceive the salesperson, right? Trick them into thinking that he's going to place the order. Maybe he's going to place the order, but he already saw that this company charges a lot, and they decided not to order with them, but with somebody else, right? So which is absolutely forbidden. Or services, right? Or services. Sometimes people offer free estimate. I mean, they can come for estimate. Of course, it does not mean that you're going to hire them. But if you don't have intention to hire them at all, like anybody at all, that's would be problematic. You understand? So if you just want to find out how to do these things and what material to use, and then you're going to hire like somebody like a worker or something instead of contractor. So that would be another example. Okay. So I mean, in all of these cases when a person takes receive money on services from somebody else, and that person was expected to be paid, right? And he was not, or she was not. So that's for sure it is stealing. Okay. So I mean, very straightforward. So next one, number 2, using deception to steal from Akum. Acquiring money or merchandise from Akum by tricking or deceiving him is also strictly forbidden. So, 1 second. So it says. So let's read a little more, then we return. Note: the Ber Hagala In his commentary on Shulchan Aruch, states, I wish to chronicle an observation for future generations. I personally have seen many people who initially became wealthy from deceiving Akum. These people subsequently saw their success turn into failure and watched their fortune disappear. Right? Okay, so let's review this before we go into the next section. So deceiving, using deception to steal from Akum. So as Rabbi Reuven Shlita always say, this cash advance business, that we're going to help you, not going to check the credit score or other things. I mean, for me, it's tension. How come you're not going to check my credit score? Like, sounds to me problematic. What is the problem? The problem is that you almost do not care whether I'm going to return money or not. Or you have different tactics, meaning for sure you're going to take my money. So all of these things, like and sometimes and many times, unfortunately, I heard from non-Jewish people. Of course, I try to evade the question or the answers, but they so naive. So they saw this person, unfortunately Jewish, and with a beard, with a hat, and they see this person like almost like an angel, like a malach. You understand? So and these people were deceiving them, open daylight, and this poor non-Jews. You understand? Very, very unfortunate. But of course, this person is going to go to Gehinom for eternity. You understand? So because it's Hil Hashem. So because other people, these non-Jews, saw him as a religious Jew, and we have to be very, very, very careful. So do as our sages teach us, do beyond the law. Right, meaning to their favor, not because we're afraid of them or something, but because of Kiddush Hashem, right? So again, acquiring money or merchandise from Akum by taking, but tricking or deceiving him is strictly forbidden. Right. So all these things, when somebody is offer you free things, there is nothing free. Why would somebody offer you free things? Meaning that they want something from you. You understand? If you right, most likely there is a catch. Right. So we have to be very, very careful, right, not to deceive the Akum. And continue. With Ber Hagala. His commentary Shulchan Aruch, so it says, I wish to chronicle an observation for a future generation. So he said he personally saw that many people become very rich, right, by deceiving Akum. So these people, especially in olden days, these non-Jews, many of them were illiterate, right? They could not count. They could not even sign their name. You understand? So, and Jews always were literate. Not everybody, but majority, and they this non-Jew, he cannot sign, he cannot count, he can not do anything. So unfortunately, some Jews, greedy Jews, took advantage, right? So maybe he's taking advantage, he's getting rich, and these non-Jews do not know, or they know but they cannot prove because of this, because of that. But the end of all of these people is going to be what? Is going to be done success will turn to failure. And watch the fortune disappears. That's how Hashem operates in this world. So these wicked people, they're not going to enjoy the fruits of their hands, for sure not. Right? Everything is going to disappear, and plus on top, they're going to be punished. And if non-Jew discovered what was done, and it was it's going to be the turnout Hil Hashem, they're going to go to Gehinom forever and ever. Understand? So that's if a person contemplates the life is so short, why do I need so much money? What are you going to do? You're going to eat more? You see all people who eat more, they hardly can breathe. Right? I was walking by today, unfortunately, one of the people from shul that I used to go, so he could not walk down the stairs because he has a big belly. Right, unfortunately, this big belly has a lot of pressure, on a skeleton, right? He has a muscle spasm, all of these things. He cannot walk, right? Because eats a lot. So who needs that? Fortunately, for poor guy. He asked me what to do 17 times. I told him what to do. He did. He said he better go to the doctor. Okay, you want to go better to go to the doctor than do the show? Go to the doctor. See if they help you, right? Unfortunately. Right, so meaning have to be like, remember the life is very short, right? Hashem is watching, he's taking account, so don't take money that do not belong to us. Okay, so let me quickly see what time is it. Should we stop here or not? Oh, 1 second. Actually, I think those are separate cases, so we can do a few cases. Let's continue. The following application, an example to illustrate the prohibition using deception to steal from an Akum. Okay. First one, admission price. A father did not want to pay the full admission price to a zoo or amusement park for his child. He told the ticket seller that his 13 years old boy is 11 years old, and pay for half a price ticket. He rationalized that his son was a small fellow, no bigger than any 11 years old. But nevertheless, his act of deceiving the ticket seller and paying less the full price, was totally prohibited. Okay, very interesting. I'm not sure where the laws like this. By very relief, I think like up to 5 years discount, but older than that there is no. The 11 years old the discount. I'm not sure, but let's see. So again, so a father did not want to pay the full ticket price for a zoo or amusement park. So meaning that it goes by the age of the child. So up to like 2 years old, for example, free. I mean, what does it? Right, above that, this price. Okay, but looks like until 11 something or 12. So there is like half a price. Okay. So and he told the ticket seller that his 13-year-old boy was actually 11. So I mean, from adult you can ask ID like a driver license or something, but from child they don't have any IDs in this age, right? And how this ticket seller is going to prove, right? And just refuse, like on what basis? You understand? So and plus there are other people in line, so I mean, and they do not care. Like why do they need this aggravation? Usually it's not the highest paying job. Well, let's put it this way. Right? They just want the day to be over. That's it. So meaning he would agree with his parent, right, with his father because of whatever. You understand? So I see how it's happening. Like they don't want to fight. Okay. So right, and but in his mind, this father rationalized that my son is small. Like what is it? Like nobody asks you. He's small or he's big. It says the age, but you know what the age of your son is. No bigger than any 11 years old. Nevertheless, the act of deceiving the ticket seller and paying less than the full price is totally prohibited. Right, and plus some people rationalize. Yeah, and I heard this also. Person said no, but I'm going there just because of my son or my kids. So I'm not going to go all of these rides. Right, I get it. Notions, this and that. It is for kids. So they save on me. Right, I mean you can rationalize whatever they want, but if you ask them and you ask them like is the price going to be different if I'm going to go on rides on I'm not going to rides so they say absolutely not. Or in the zoo I'm going to look at the lion, or I'm not going to look at the zebra. I'm going to sit in I don't know on a bench and eat ice cream. You can do whatever you want, like but admission price is the same. I said maybe for if like senior citizens, most likely they're not going to go to any rides like in the amusement park or something. But so for them it is the discount, right? But for other people it's not. So our like not our personal rationale is nothing, right? It works only for him, but not in Shammai. Okay. So continue. Next example. Expense account. The sales executive billed his employer for all legitimate expenses and added few $100 of fiction's expenses. Fictions. The reason that he outperformed the other salesman, his employer would be happy to let him extra fringe benefits. Unbelievable. However, since he added the extra amount without his boss's permission, he was guilty of stealing. And there is a commentary we're going to see. And I saw this report. So as I said, I used to work in a place. We had customer support, not too far from me, salespeople, and they would make a copy, or they would send it a fax, like in olden days, right? Make a copy in olden days, or send the fax to somebody with a sales with reports, expense report. Sometimes they would leave on a fax machine, so you just see it like, and they would like glue, right, or like a piece of, what is it, this a scotch tape, many receipts. So how many receipts? I mean, who has this time to go through all of the receipts? I mean, maybe somebody does, right? Maybe this from accounting lady that she does, but a lot. So meaning guy went to business trip for 5 days, and he went to eat, and he went to this and that, all of this 100 different expenses. I mean, of course, if they look at every expense and they're going to call him about each expense and ask him to explain, but sometimes this accounting lady also, she has another million have jobs, like tasks, right? She does not have time for all of this, and they see something improper, just let it go, right? So, but for sure, it is stealing for sure. So, but his rationale in this person is, so I did very good job. I outperformed other people, our salespeople. So I brought a lot of business to the company, right? So I brought a lot of business. So they're going to let it go, like few $100. Okay, no problem. Right. So let me quickly read it so we see if we're missing anything. Sales executive billed his employer for all the legitimate expenses and added a few $100 of fictional expenses. I'm not sure what fictional expenses are, like there were no expenses or not billable. I'm not sure. I mean, it could be both ways. He reasoned that since he outperformed the other salesman, his employer would be happy to let him have an extra fringe benefits. Right? However, since he added extra amount without his boss's permission, he was guilty of stealing. Right? And they were very free with money. I mean, I heard what was going on. So they were allowed to bribe the customers. So how you bribe the customer? You buy them tickets to sports events. And I mean, I did not know they could be so expensive. Like back then, it was like hundreds of dollars, like huge amounts, or to theaters, or to all of these things, to restaurants. Like, did he buy it, not buy? I don't know, all these things. So let's see. There is one commentary. It is often very difficult to know if particular expense may be submitted for reimbursement, or to accumulate, or to accurately record every single expense. Nevertheless, most employers have formal guidelines for which type of expense may be submitted, right? And when estimating an expense is acceptable, okay. Estimating the expense is acceptable, okay. If one's employer does not have a formal guidelines, it is incumbent upon the employee to clarify these issues with the employer before incurring incurring and admitting any expenses. So let's read one more time and try to understand. It is often very difficult to know if particular expense may be submitted in or for reimbursement. So basically, they have some categories like in entertainment or travel. So travel could be whatever travel, right? Anything, right? Or in entertainment, for example, entertaining customer. Also, like all of these things, like I don't know, buy them tickets. The customer went to this sport event, so this guy went to, I don't know, all of these things, right? So many things are in general category. That's what I'm trying to say. Or they accurately record every single expense. Yeah, if guy was in a business trip for 7 days, 8 days, or 5 days, and he comes back with I don't know 70 receipts. Guess what? It's not so simple. Remember exactly what each receipt was for. I mean, of course, expected of them to what is it to record all this thing, but many people did not. That's what I heard. I mean, there were everybody knows that the system was abused. Everybody. Okay, but for Jews, it's absolutely not allowed. Nevertheless, most employers have a formal guidelines, right, for which types of expenses may be submitted when estimated the expense is acceptable. Okay, so I mean, we know exactly. I mean, with us also, like simple people, they allow us to buy whatever. One time I bought a computer, right? The company said that they're going to spend like long time ago, right? They pay 40% for our computer. So you buy it, of course, you can buy the most expensive computer if you want, like as I say, money. Company is going to pay because they expected us to work from this computer for home, right? You buy for home, but everybody understand that you're going to use it for business. But there was like a clause there. So if you go, they expect you to stay with the company for minimum of 3 years, right? I don't think if somebody left early, they would bill him back for a computer. Maybe yes, maybe not, right? But very interesting. So maybe the person is planning to quit 2 months from now, so he should not buy this computer. That's the point. If one's employer, right? If one's employer does not have formal guidelines, it is incumbent upon the employee to clarify these issues with employer before incurring any submitting any expense. So a person cannot say, "Oh, I did not know. I already spent." Okay, you spent. Had to ask before, but it's proper, of course. I mean, from a company to say that for this, for transportation is going to pay, for food we're going to pay, but for other things, but for lodging, of course. But if you decided to go to some sport events or like I don't know, like I'm talking about non-Jews, or spend your money otherwise, it's your own business. All right, so let's stop here, and of course there are more examples. More examples. Stop here.